Alright folks, I managed to get out shopping and I just about managed to get enough stuff to make a new batch of shine juice, and I know you've been wanting to see how I make it, so that's what we're going to do. Super important ingredient is the Monster energy drink, more about that later. But as you can see, I couldn't get any isopropanol, so I've got methylated spirits. I've never seen anybody make it with meths, but I don't think it's going to make any difference at all. It's ethanol with some other stuff in it, so I can't see that being a problem. Now I use French polish in mine. A lot of people just use shellac, but I like the French polish because it's brown. So what we're going to do, I like to use half shellac, half French polish, and then equal amounts of these. We're going to use this as our mixing or measuring vessel. This is 500 ml. So I want 125 ml of this, 250 ml of this, and 250 ml of these. So let's do that for a start. That's about half, give or take. So it's 250 ml shellac sanding sealer. Now these are 125 ml. So we want 2 of these. Should have shook that as well, shouldn't I? Make sure you shake everything because you get some residue at the bottom of these, and you want that residue because it's probably the shellac. That's 1. That's 2. I need a bigger vessel. I seem to remember this is a 750. Can't find. It's probably rubbed off. It was probably here. I think that's a 750. So let's pour that into here. Right, next we need 250 ml. Hang on, what have we done? Yes, 250. Right, we need 500. Right. I'm getting myself confused. What we've done is we've made 500 ml, so we need to split that into 2 because we haven't got enough room in the bottles. So we're going to split that in here, half and half. That's half and half. So now we've got 250 ml of our shellac mix, boiled linseed oil, 250 ml. That goes in here. So it's equal parts boiled linseed oil and my shellac and French polish mix. And we want to do the same with the big bottle. Okay. Now we want in here 250 ml of either isopropanol or I'm using meths. So let's do that. That looks like half to me. So that should be now a complete mix. See if I can find the lid for that. Good luck, Will. Right, I can't find the lid for that, so let's pour that in here so we can shake it around. And you'll notice that it's gone brown. I wasn't worried about the purple dye because we've got the French polish. So we can shake that around. That mix is finished, so this is going to be my new Shine Juice application bottle. Hopefully all that will fit in there. Bit too much, Willie. That's full. So that's one complete 750 ml of Shine Juice. Shiny McShine face. So now we can start. That's pre-mixed, so we just need this and that in that bottle. And we can pour this one in. Then we can pour this one into here. There's a bit left. Mix that around, and that's complete. So what I like to do is have these, because these have got lids, so we're going to fill these bottles up and just store them away for when I run out. Two. Okay. Alright, now this Shine Juice will settle out overnight, or even after maybe an hour sat on the side. It'll all be separated out, so before you use it, give it a good shake. And that's that. So from all of that lot, we have got 750, 1.75, 2 litres, 2 1/4, and a bit. Nearly 2.5 litres of Shine Juice. That should keep me going for a little while. So just to recap, what you want is equal quantities French polish and sanding sealer, shellac sanding sealer, equal quantities of that. That's 1 part. And you want the same amount of either isopropanol, or I'm using meths today, and the last ingredient is an equal part of boiled linseed oil. Mix them all together in equal quantities and you've got my version of Shine Juice. Some people's versions may differ. So right, let's get on with the scraps bowl. Here's the last one. Right, a little word of advice. This pressure pot is an ex-professional painter's pressure pot, and it's designed for pressures well above 80 psi. The cheap modern pressure pots that you see on YouTube are not designed to carry pressures of 80 psi. Their blow-off valve is set to go off at 80, and I wouldn't like taking them anywhere close to 80 psi personally. As they've only got 4 retainers, and I think you're pushing your luck getting close to 80 psi on a cheap pressure pot. This one is absolutely massive and heavy duty, so I'm not worried about 80 psi in here. Just a word of warning, I don't want anybody copying me going to 80 psi and then having an exploding pressure pot. That would not be good. Ooh, that's always a good sign when your blank is stuck to the weight. So, did we put enough resin in here? I hope so. Wow. It looks cool. I think we might have had just enough resin. There's a slight... Yeah, let's come up here. I've got an air bubble here. And a little one there. Maybe more than a little one. Interesting. Some of that resin is actually still sticky. I can get my fingernail into it. Which means that is not fully cured yet. This surface feels fine, but the top doesn't. Okay, so after a bit of deliberation, I'm not sure why that top is so soft, but I'm going to leave it outside in the sun to heat up for a couple of hours and see if that cures it. If not, we're just going to turn it and see what happens. And in the meantime, I'm going to turn to something else. Okay, so welcome back to narration mode. Newsflash, it didn't cure it, but I've left it in a warm room overnight, and I think what's happened to that blank is it's cold in the workshop overnight, and the temperature's been too low for it to fully cure. I'm hoping that's what it is, because I think I mixed it well enough. We'll find out tomorrow. So, on the lathe at the moment, we've got a little piece of ash. It's about 8 inches square, roughly. And we're just going to turn it into a nice little bowl that you might put on your bedside table. Maybe it's got your keys in it. Something like that. I toyed with the idea of having it square-edged. I thought about putting my small jaws on so I could get a smaller base on it, but I couldn't be bothered to do either of those things, so we're just going to motor on and work with what we got. So at the minute I'm just turning away the flat spots from where it was square.
And we're going to put some nice curves on it. And I want an overhanging rim on this one. Just an idea. I want to see how much of an angle I can get on this 40/40 grind to get inside the bowl when I'm hollowing. So we'll find out in a minute how that goes. Didn't quite have enough room for a decent sized mortise, so I'll just cut the base off. And there we go. That's enough room now to be safe. Now, full disclosure, I didn't actually cut that mortise wide enough. I actually made that 85mm. It looked good, but it wasn't wide enough. So in the midpoint of this, I had to put it back on the lathe and cut it very slightly wider. So I sanded this one all the way up to 400 grit. And I gave it a quick going over with the blowtorch. Now I am going to do a bowl soon that doesn't have any colour on it after I've blowtorched it, because I really like the way that ash, it almost looks like a zebra stripe, doesn't it? Really high contrast. I want to see if I can make that as high contrast as possible on a bowl that I'll be doing shortly. So I've given it a quick sand, and because a lot of you in the comments really like that purple colour, we're making a purple one. It is a nice colour. Had a couple of areas that weren't adequately sanded, so I sanded the colour off and reapplied it. And on we go with some Hampshire Sheen gold embellishing paste. Ash is brilliant for doing these embellishing pastes because it's very open pore. And then we tested out the brand new Shine Juice with methylated spirits. Never seen that before, but there you go. It seems to be shiny shiny. Okay, so it's the time of the show when we get to showcase some of your work. And today on the show we have a very new turner. His name is Chris Walters, and he has sent us some pens that he has made. Chris, if I can offer you a piece of advice, what you want to do is keep your tool as sharp as possible, and that will give you some cleaner cuts and less tear out. And get yourself a pack of mixed sandpaper, and that should help you take the next step in your turning. So thanks for sending these images in, and if you'd like to be featured on the show, you can send your images to willmakeseverything@gmail.com. Okay, so it's time to hollow it out. Didn't take too long, it's just a little bowl. Wasn't happy with that edge, so I put a new one on there. Bit of unconventional hollowing. It didn't really like being hollowed from the outside in, so I hollowed it from the inside out. So a bit of a challenge trying to get in that recessed rim. Had the gouge right over the other side of the lathe. couple of finishing cuts, and we're nearly there. Didn't go too thin with it, it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So I've just put some sanding paste on, and we're going to try out the new shine juice again. And there it is. Not a bad looking thing if I do say so myself. That took about an hour to make. So I'll leave you as ever with the glamour shots. So thanks very much for following along. I hope you've enjoyed the shine juice tutorial, if you want to call it that. It's just how I make it. There are plenty of other methods, I'm sure. But if you've got something out of it, then that's great. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you're all staying safe and are well. Take it easy.